Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Teresa and I share faith, beauty, and lifestyle content all across the internet. So make sure you subscribe here so we can be internet besties, and make sure you follow me on my other platforms so we can be locked in for life. Alright, today's video is all about my Microlocs. I haven't done an update in quite a while, so this is kind of like an update video as well as a Microlocs pro and con video. For those of you who are just joining, we are talking about my Microloc extensions. I am on a Microloc journey, but a Microloc extension journey, and because I know there are not a lot of creators on YouTube talking about Microloc extensions, I'm here to fill the gap. Today we're going to get into 5 pros and 5 cons of getting Microloc extensions. We're entering into a new year and you may be thinking, I want to get my hair microlocked, I want to get extensions. You may be battling with the idea of, should I go for extensions or should I not go for extensions and just do it with my natural hair? Today we'll get into a little bit about my journey, why I chose extensions, as well as my pros and cons with Microloc extensions so far. Glory to the Father. Alright, so before we get into the pros and cons, let's talk a little bit about my journey for those of us that are new here, or for those of you who may have forgotten. So I got my Microlocs extensions installed in July of this year, July 2024. I initially got them installed in March of 2024, but I had some issues in which I had to remove them, and I got them reinstalled in July 2024. And so this month, December, will make 5 months with my Microloc extensions. I'm quite happy with them. I am happy with the decision to get them installed again, and I'm quite happy with the decision to get extensions. But having gone through the process, I feel like if I had to go through it again, I probably would not get extensions for a number of different reasons. I would rather just do it with my own hair. I have 345 Microlocs. I used the QVR human hair that is pretty much viral right now. It's going around everywhere. I really have no complaints about this hair. I really do like this hair. I did use a different hair for my first set of extensions, which was just a generic Afro kinky bulk hair that the person that was installing them got from AliExpress or something like that. I didn't really like it. It was really rough. It was really tough. The QVR hair I find is a lot softer, and my loctician, as well as other people who have extensions, say that my hair is a lot softer and a lot more manageable than theirs. And so if you want to go the extension route, I definitely would recommend using the QVR hair, because I don't have any complaints about it and I actually really like it. If I were to go through this again, I probably would not get extensions. This is mainly due to the fact of a few things. Number one, as I've shared on this channel before, if you've been following my journey, my extensions are not permanent. They're actually temporary. I got these extensions to help me transition through the ugly phase of locks, so that I would be able to, you know, style my hair and do things and everything without having to wait for them to grow. So for me, having my extensions is probably going to be in for a year and a half, maybe 2 years max. I've told myself 2 years max. I got them in July of this year, so July of next year I'll see where my hair is at. If I'm ready to take them out, then I'll do it then. If not, then I would go another year. And so for the mere fact that it's not a permanent decision, I feel like I might as well just have bit the bullet and just done it with my natural hair and just wore wigs or whatever I need to do to beat that ugly phase. Honestly, I work in corporate, and you know, as Black women, unfortunately, we are judged by our hair. And even though we don't like to say when it comes to lock, there's an ugly phase, it is a short phase, it's an awkward phase. It's hard to sort of maneuver and style your hair. And I just felt like, and honestly, this is me being honest and sharing my truth, I just felt like it would affect me in the world of corporate if I were to show up with my hair in an awkward phase. For those of you who don't know, I did a big chop before getting my locks done, because I had moved from Africa to Canada. I moved from Africa back to Canada right before I got my locks done, and I noticed that my hair was breaking. I got my hair relaxed for my wedding last year, and so I was cutting it off to go natural again and then to finally lock it. right? And so I went bald, completely bald, like balls. And so when I was getting my locks installed, I probably had about 1 or 2 inches of hair. Showing up to black corporate Canada with 2 inches of hair that's locked would have not have been a good experience for me. And yes, I could have waited for it to grow out before getting it locked, but I was eager to just get it locked. And so that's the reason why I chose to go with extensions. Because it's a temporary decision, I probably could have just gotten it locked and not shown up and just wore wigs, but I was really tired of wearing wigs. I wanted to embrace my natural hair. I wanted to embrace and fall in love with my natural hair. I feel like I've been hiding my natural hair under wigs for years and years and years, and I just wanted to fall in love with and embrace me in my natural state. Like, I know this is extensions, but it looks close to natural hair, and a lot of people think it is my natural hair, right? And I've fallen in love with how I look with my hair natural, and I know that when my locks grow, I'm definitely gonna love and be able to just rock my natural hair and not hide under wigs and weaves and braids. And so that was the reason why I made the decision. And yeah, but looking back, I probably should have just left it, locked it, continued wearing the wigs or whatever, and then let it grow before I was able to, instead of going through the extension route. Another reason why I would not go the extension route again is because my hair is 4B, 4A in some parts. It's not necessarily 4C hair, and so my texture is quite soft, it's quite silky, it's quite curly, and so I have experienced a lot of slippage with my extensions. Now, this is not the truth for everybody. I know people that have extensions that got them done at the same place that I got it done, but because they have 4C kinky hair, they have not had any slippage. Like, their extensions were able to maintain and they were able to lock in very quickly. But just because of the texture of my hair, I find that I have a lot more slippage, and so I'm constantly having to go for maintenance. And so that's something to keep in mind if you are if you have 4B, 4A hair and you're looking to get extensions. You might want to keep in mind the texture of your hair, and that will help you make a decision if you want to get them. And even if you still want to get them, it may be better to interlock them or to get braid locks instead of twist locks, because with the twist locks, with my softer hair texture, I've been having a lot of problems with slippage. And so I'll just show you, because like I said, we are doing a Microloc update as well as a pros and cons video. So I'll just show you. I'm just looking for one here. Yeah, okay, I found one. All right, so zooming in here, you can see that there's some slippage. This part would be my actual hair, and then here's like a little thin, and then you can even see like this is where it's slipping. So I probably would have to cut that off. And I have a couple of them where that has happened. Here is another one, and it just slips. My hair texture is a lot smoother, it's a lot silkier, it's not as kinky as 4C hair, and so it just slips. And so I constantly have to go in for maintenance to get these things fixed, whereas either removing the extension and just starting over, or like getting it again. So here is another one where it has completely slipped out, and this is just my natural hair as it's being locked. So this is my real hair here, and the extension has completely fallen. And to be honest, for my real hair to be grown like that after 1 year, I feel like that's pretty good growth. I measured it and it's at 4.5 inches. So for a year, having been bald and now having a year later, 4.5 inches, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm sure by the end of the year, that'll bring me up to 5 inches, which means by next year, my hair will be about 10 inches long, and I probably will take out my extensions, but again, we'll see. I don't want to make any definite statements, and then next year, I don't do that. So it's possible next year I'll be taking them out. Otherwise, I might keep them for a little bit longer. So in terms of an update, month 3, 4, and now 5 has been really good. I did have to go in for a lock maintenance to fix some of that slippage that I showed you. They were separating, a lot of them were separating, and I didn't want them to fall out. So I went in for maintenance, and my loctician, she basically, I'm trying to find one that she fixed. I think it's this one. Okay, so you can see there's a part here that's a little thicker than the rest of the lock, because she basically had to wrap it and then interlock it. So that's basically how we're fixing it right now. I'm not really too particular about getting it perfect because my extensions are not permanent. But if you were getting them permanent, they probably would have to interlock them and make them a bit more cleaner. But for me, that's not a big priority because, again, it's temporary. Otherwise, my hair is doing really, really good. I'm still in love with the fact that I just get up and go take off my bonnet, fluff my hair, spray it, and I'm out of the door. And I honestly really do think that I look beautiful with this natural hair. I'm so used to like wearing wigs and weaves. I probably have worn a wig maybe 2 or 3 times in the last 3 months. I am honestly in love with my hair. I'm in love with it. I still don't do too much styling just because I want to minimize slippage. I want to minimize breakage. As I always say, from months 1 to 6, your locks are in the forming phase. And so I just allow my locks to form. I usually just keep my hair down like this if I'm going out. Otherwise, I put it in a low bun or a high bun, and that's pretty much all I'm doing. But yeah, we had a lot of slippage, so they had to go in and fix them. And since we fixed them, they've been pretty much okay. That was in my last retie, which would have been I get my hair retied every 6 weeks. So it would have been sometime in November, early November, because I'm due at the end of this month. So yeah, so far so good. I feel like my locks are really starting to look mature, especially from far away. They look mature. They don't even look like twists, but once you get up close, you still see that there are some twists and some braids in it. But the journey has been good. The grid is still intact. I am still 100% for Microlocs. I feel like getting Microlocs is an amazing decision. We'll talk about that more in the pros and cons, but I feel like getting Microlocs was the best decision that I've ever made. I definitely wish I didn't have to deal with some of the slippage, but then I chalk that up to my hair texture. Otherwise, I'm still 10 out of 10, and I'm still super happy with this decision to get my hair Microlocked. All right, let's get into the good stuff. So pro number 1 is instant length and volume. Look at my hair. Look at my hair. These look like the locks of someone who has been possibly growing their hair for like 2 years, maybe even 3, but I got these done this year. Instant length and volume. And so if you're like me and you're totally in love with locks, and you probably have a few lock crushes or a few lock influencers that you look up to, you love their hair, they typically have long luscious locks. And so you see them and you're like, I want my hair like that, and you go and get starter locks and your hair doesn't look like that, and you have to go through the process to finally get your hair like that. If you're kind of wanting to skip that process, obviously Loc Extensions are going to be for you. They're going to give you instant length, they're going to give you instant volume, they're going to make it look like you have had your locks for an amount of time, which opens you up to a lot of versatility with styling and pictures and everything that you're probably looking forward to in your locks. Many of us don't get locks with the mindset, oh my gosh, I can't wait for my shrinkage and my starter locks to be 2 inches long. Nobody really gets locks with that mindset. They're looking for the future picture, or they're looking at the big picture. And so getting Loc Extensions obviously will give you that future picture or that big picture right away. You have instant length and you have instant volume. Your hair is full, your hair is voluptuous, your hair is long, and it just looks really good. And so if that is what you're looking for and you kind of don't want to go through the process, then definitely Loc Extensions are going to be for you. That's 100% the best pro of having Loc Extensions, and that's probably the reason why most people get them. Number 2, a pro of Loc Extensions is the fact that it is a protective style. For Black women around this time of the year, fall and winter, we are looking for a protective style to protect the ends of our hair. Especially if you live in Canada like me, you know how cold and harsh the climate is. You're looking to protect your hair with braids, with wigs, with weaves, and all the different styles that we do to protect our hair. Having Loc Extensions is a protective style because you have extension hair on top of your real hair, and it's protecting your ends because your ends are inside of the extension. So this is like a permanent protective style that you can do. It provides a lot of protection to your hair, and I have seen tremendous growth having them just for a few months now. and seeing how much growth I've had and how much lack of breakage that I've had, I know that I can credit that to the fact that the ends are being protected and my hair is in a protective style. And so another major pro is the fact that your hair is in a protective style all year long. Pro number 3 is the saving of time and money. When my hair wasn't locked, I would have to figure out a new hairstyle every 4 weeks typically. Every 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, I'm looking on Amazon for a new wig. I'm going through a braider's availability to see if I get my hair braided, or I'm buying bundles. The amount of time, effort, and resources that I would spend on getting my hair done or getting my hair to look presentable, like I said, I'm in corporate and I'm black. And so the amount of time, money, resources, effort that I would spend looking and trying to figure out what I was going to do next with my hair. Am I going to do a ponytail? Am I going to get it braided? Am I going to get cornrows? Am I going to do a wig? Am I going to get an install? All of that is no longer my struggle. I no longer have to go through any of that because my hair is done. It's done all the time. If I'm running to the store, my hair is done. If I'm going to work, my hair is done. If I have an event, my hair is done. My hair is always done. All I got to do is spritz it, fluff it, and it looks presentable. Gel down my edges and I'm good to go. Even if I want to do a little style, I can do a style even with my hair. And so saving time, number 1, and saving money as well. The money that I would have spent in buying hair, getting it done, is a lot. As Black women, we spend so much money when it comes to our hair. You first gotta buy the bundles, then you have to find somebody to install it. So that's a double cost. By the time you're finished buying bundles and getting your hair done, you're looking upwards $300, $400. And that's if you're getting really good quality hair. Yes, there are budget options out there, but they don't last as long. And so you can very well go to the beauty supply store, get yourself a $40 or $30 synthetic wig, but you know you can only rock that for about 3 weeks before it starts getting tangled, and then you have to go and get another wig. So if you add that up in a year, you're spending so much money. Now, that's not to say that with Microlocs you don't spend money. I get my hair maintained at a salon, so I still do spend money. Every 6 weeks when I go to get my retie, I'm paying about $200 to get my hair retied. So there's still an investment for me. But people that are doing self-reties, getting away from that. They're honestly not paying anything, and that's something that I probably will invest in once I take my extensions out. The reason why I do get it done is because I, one, have extensions and I don't want to have to deal with the stress of extensions. But once I take it out and it's my natural hair, I probably will invest in learning how to self-retie so that I can eliminate that cost. And so keep in mind there is still a cost factor, but you're definitely saving time and money when it comes to having your hair microlocked as opposed to having your hair loose and trying to find styles. Number 4, the 4th pro of having Microloc extensions is that it makes a great transition option. So if you're like me and you know you want to have locks with your natural hair, but maybe you did a big chop like I did, or maybe your hair is just a little bit finer, it's not as thick, Microloc extensions can be a good transition option to get you through some of the more awkward phases of the journey of locks. I know a lot of people have really thin, really fine hair, and so even in getting Microlocs, they found that their hair was really fine. They ended up combing them out because even after they thickened up, they really didn't give that full appearance, and then they went back and they got them with extensions and it looked a whole lot different. So that's definitely something that you can do. It's sort of like a transition hairstyle that can transition you from one point to another point. So for me, it was transitioning me from being bald to having hair. I did a big chop, I cut off all my hair, and I needed something to transition me from that very short phase to growing my hair. And like I did, I showed you guys my hair. It's about 4.5 inches now, if I can find it. Yeah, it's about 4.5 inches now, so it's definitely growing. Even at this length, I could probably take them out, but I need to get my money's worth of these extensions, all right, because we know they're not cheap. And so yeah, it's about 4.5 inches now, so it's a really great way to transition from one phase to another phase, and also a way to kind of test out how you're going to look with locks, or test out how to take care of locks having the extension. So that's definitely another pro that you can add to your toolkit if you're thinking about getting Microloc extensions. That's another good reason just to transition from one point to another point and to help you do do that. And finally, for our last pro, is definitely going to be the versatility factor. Microloc extensions are so versatile. You can style them in so many different ways, do so many different styles, discover so many different styles with your hair. You can even go as far as to starting braids and twists on top of your loc extensions. And so they provide you with so many options that you otherwise may have not had if your hair was shorter or if you're in the process of growing your locks. For me especially, if I was growing my locks from 2 inches of hair, there's so many things that I wouldn't have been able to do without extensions, but extensions afforded me the opportunity to be a lot more versatile with my hair and with my styles. Because I'm young and I get bored easily, I'm always looking to do something new, something different, and so I don't think I really would have liked it, and I don't think I really would have been happy with my hair, if especially growing it from how short it was, if I didn't have the option to be versatile. And so that's one of the reasons why extensions was a good idea for me. So those are some of the reasons why Microloc extensions are a great idea, and they could be a great idea for you. Now, like everything, there are some dark sides, so let's talk about the cons of Microloc extensions. We've already talked about one of them, definitely the slippage. And so this ties into, once again, how you care for your hair as well as your hair texture. With Microloc extensions, you may possibly experience some slippage where your extensions are slipping out. They're getting disconnected from your natural hair. They're unable to hold. All of these things are cons. They're annoying to deal with, especially when you're paying so much money to get your hair installed, especially when you're paying so much money to get your hair done. When you see them slipping out and coming out, it's honestly so annoying and so frustrating. And that's one con of having Microloc extensions. If you are growing your locks with your natural hair, you obviously will have some slippage from the root, but you won't have slippage in terms of your hair is slipping like in between, like what I had showed you. Slippage is normal with the Microlocs. Let me put that out there. Even if you do it with your own hair, there is the possibility for slippage, but it's annoying knowing that you have paid so much money to get extensions and then to see your extensions slipping out. So that's definitely one of the cons. Probably my biggest con of Microloc extensions, especially since I have dealt with it a lot in my journey. If I had a kinkier hair texture, that probably would not be the case. I have another friend who got her hair done the same time as me. We literally did it on the same day from the same stylist, but her hair texture is different and her experience have been totally different because of the fact that her hair is more kinkier. So again, if you have a softer hair texture, that's something you're going to want to think about when it comes to getting Microloc extensions. It may serve you better to just do it with your own hair. Another con with Microlocs is the cost. Microlocs are very, very expensive to get if you don't have a family member or somebody that can do them for you and you have to go the traditional professional route. They can be very, very expensive. Constantly I'm seeing promos for Microlocs, and the promos are like over $1,000, and so you can imagine what some of the regular prices are. This is definitely an investment hairstyle, especially if you want to get them done right and properly, professionally. You're probably going to be shelling out upwards of over $1,000 for Microlocs. Some places are still offering them for a lot cheaper, but I feel like as time progresses, we're going into a new year right now, you probably want to look at upwards of $1,000. One of my biggest regrets is not getting my hair installed when I was in Africa. I moved to Africa for 2 years and I was living in Ghana for 2 years. I could have got them done there for much cheaper, but I was still on the fence about whether I wanted them or not. And so yeah, that's something, if I could go back in time, something I would have done. But if you have the opportunity to go back home or go to wherever you're from and get them done, that would definitely be something to consider, because it's going to be a fraction of the cost over there. But the cost is definitely a con. It's really, really expensive to get installed, and then again, as I mentioned previously, expensive to maintain. Reties usually average between $150 and $200 depending on how many locks you have and the volume of your hair, which can add up. If you're going every 6 weeks, $200 every 6 weeks is not cheap. It is not cheap. But then again, you can avoid those costs by learning how to self-retie. So that's also something you may want to consider in mind when it comes to cost, because there are extensions involved, they're putting in the extensions as well as installing your locks, it's going to cost a bit more. And so that is something to keep in mind. It's a lot cheaper to get locks installed on just your natural hair, but when you're adding extensions into the mix, it's going to be quite a price. And usually the provider provides the hair, but even if they're not providing the hair and you're purchasing your own hair, you're going to spend about, depending on how much length you want, you're probably going to spend about 100 to 200 USD on getting the hair before you're paying the installation price. So just keep that in mind. Now, con number 3 is maintenance. I kind of have a love-hate relationship when it comes to maintenance around my Microlocs because reties take a lot of time. Like whenever it's retie day, my husband knows that I'm taking the car, I'm going to my loctician, and I'm going to be there for at least 3 hours. Like at least 3 hours. I have 345 locks, and in my retie we do a wash, we do the retie, and then we do repairs. Because of my hair texture and the slippage, we typically always have repairs. And so we take about 3 hours to get my hair retied. So you are sitting there for 3 hours getting your hair retied. And that's like time consuming. This is something that I have to go through every 6 weeks. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to keep my locks in the 300 range. Initially, I was one of those people that were like, I want like that Sisterlocs look. I want really tiny locks. I want like 500 to 600. And when I realized how time consuming reties can be and did more research, I was like, actually no, let's do around 300 to 350. And even with that, I'm spending 3 hours. So imagine people that have smaller locks than me, people that are in the 400s or 500s, they take a lot more time. Imagine self retying 500 locks. So maintenance can be a pain in the butt. Wasting 3 hours of your day to get your hair done is a lot of time. Luckily for me, my loctician does offer home service and stuff, so as time progresses, definitely probably gonna put some of those things into place when I need them. But something to keep in mind is one of the cons is reties. Reties need to get done. Your hair needs to get done. That's how you maintain it, that's how you keep it healthy, and they take a long time. So that's something to keep in mind. Con number 4 is damage. When it comes to getting Microloc extensions, you have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. No, you have to be very, very careful. Because a lot of people right now are offering Microloc extensions as a service, and they don't actually know how to do hair. They don't actually know how to do Microlocs, and they don't actually know how to do Microloc extensions. A lot of people have found that their hair is damaged. I'm in those Facebook groups, the Microloc Facebook groups, and I see it all the time where people are getting their hair damaged by people charging them so much money and doing nonsense on their hair, which eventually actually damages their hair. It comes down to the type of extensions that they're putting in, the way they're putting in these extensions. A lot of people are getting their hair damaged, their natural hair damaged, just from doing loc extensions. And so one of the cons is the fact that if you do not find the right stylist, it can be very detrimental and damaging to your hair. It can really make and break your hair, and finding a stylist is not the easiest thing to do. Not a lot of people know how to do Microloc extensions. Not a lot of people want to maintain Microloc extensions. Not a lot of people want to maintain extensions that they didn't put in. So that's something also to consider if you're getting it done in another country. And so there's so many nuances around finding a stylist and finding a technician and finding a loctician. But it's very important that you find the right one, because it can be very damaging and it can actually make or break your hair. So con number 4 is definitely going to be the potential for damage if you cannot find the right person to help take care of your hair and love your hair the way you do. Not just doing hair for a check, not just doing it because they're trying to get paid, but actually has passion and love for hair and will love your hair. And then finally, the final con of Microloc extensions would be the inauthenticity of the journey, right? So there's pros and cons to everything. With Microloc extensions, you're skipping the starter lock phase, you're skipping all of the different phases and going straight to the end. And so your journey may not be as authentic as someone who just did their as someone who went through all the phases. And a lot of people will point that in your face, and a lot of people won't let you forget that. A lot of people will be like, oh, you're skipping the journey, you're not authentic, have patience, just do it without extensions. And they make you feel like you don't really have a Microloc journey because it's not authentic. So that's something to keep in mind if you are bothered by those things. People can get under your skin by making those type of comments. And then also for you personally, you don't get to see your hair changing and your locks forming and everything that you would see with a lock journey without extensions. And so you may have FOMO, which is fear of missing out, or you may feel like your journey is not that authentic. And so that's something to consider if you're looking to get Microloc extensions. Yes, you can have your hair looking amazing right away, but then also you're missing out on the parts of seeing your locks forming and seeing your hair change and seeing your hair thicken up and grow. And if something that's important to you or fascinating to you, then you might miss out on that. And so that is another con of having Microloc extensions. And so there we have it. 5 pros and 5 cons of Microloc extensions. Whatever you decide to do, make sure it's personal to you and it's something that you can live with. The beautiful thing about having Microloc extensions is that if it doesn't work out, you can get them removed. I know a few people who started with extensions and decided they don't want them and they took them out. I know people who started with their natural hair and decided they wanted extensions and they put them in. The beautiful thing about this journey is the fact that it's a journey and you can do whatever you want. Right now I'm playing around with the idea of trimming my locks instead of taking them out, which I don't know if you have noticed, but I actually have trimmed them a bit. They were longer before, but as my hair has been growing, I have been trimming them. So every time I go for a retie, I take a little bit off. So I think I'm now going to be trimming as they grow instead of just getting them all removed. But again, who knows, I might change my mind. It's a journey, it's my journey, and I'm allowed to change my mind, and so are you. And so I hope you learned a lot from this video, and I hope it gave you a better understanding of some of the pros and cons of Microloc extensions. I hope it's going to help you make that decision to take that leap and come on over to the winning side. One thing's for sure, whether with extensions or without extensions, being locked is one of the best decisions that I have ever made. So whatever is holding you back, don't let it hold you back anymore. Come on over to the winning side and get your hair locked. We are locked up and we are beautiful. We are in love with our luscious hair, whether it's extensions or it's not. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a comment and let me know what you thought, if you identified with any of the pros and cons, if this video helped you, as well as some ideas of some other videos that you would like to see from me on my journey. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel so that you can join the family and be locked in with all of us, as well as following me on other platforms so that we can be internet besties for real. Until next time, bye guys.